What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's having a good day. Today we are going to be installing the JDI Ghost lock on my EK hatch. I've had that thing for quite some time now and I've kind of been putting it off and figured now probably a good time to put it on. To start off, we will need to remove the battery. And as you can see, I've neglected this a little bit. I've got a bunch of corrosion built up on these posts, but hey, we'll get that taken care of. All right, let's get into it. Now that you've got the battery out, you gotta move the battery tray as well, because the harness that you have to run the Ghost lock harness through, there's a grommet back here, so the harness runs underneath this and it'll make it a whole lot easier to install. So it's just three 12 millimeter bolts, 1, 2, and 3. Now that the battery tray's out, this is the harness I was talking about. I'm going to be unbolting it from here. And then I'm going to be removing this electrical tape so I can expose this rubber boot here. And I will feed the harness in through here and then into the car. Alright, so I got a majority of the tape off. There's like 10,000 feet of it, I feel like, but I ended up just ever so carefully cutting the tape from here to here. And now there's an opening so you can slip the harness from in through here. And then obviously make sure once you're done, just put a good amount of electrical tape back up over all of this to cover it back up to keep all the outside elements from entering your car and the harness and all that stuff. So once you've got the stuff on the engine bay side done, you're going to want to come in here and now you're going to want to remove this panel and this panel. so now that I've got that panel off, then this panel comes off, which is just a bunch of clips. But you will need to also undo the seat belt, which is just a 14mm bolt. And then this panel can come off, which, with as old as these cars are, when you're pulling on this, it's gonna feel like you're breaking it, but you know, it just takes a little extra effort. And now kind of hard to show, but this is where your harness is going to be coming in through. This is what leads to the engine bay. So once you get your harness run through there, you can just run it in, tuck it along this harness, and then in another video I'm currently handling all of that, so I already have a majority of the panels back there and seats and all that removed, because you will need to get to the fuel pump because the harness runs to the fuel pump. Okay, so I went ahead and I pulled the harness out of the packaging. When I say the harness that goes through that grommet, this is the one I'm talking about. And luckily, you can undo the connector here. And then all you gotta do is deal with is slipping either this end through the grommet or slipping this end through the grommet. This will end up going to the fuse box here, and it'll be going to this connector right here, which is the alternator side. So then once you have it connected there, you can route it down and then route it through that grommet and then into the car. Which sounds easy, but I'm sure it's gonna not be very fun trying to slip this harness through that really tight grommet. But it's gotta be done, so. Alright, so as you can see, with about 20 minutes of cursing, crying, kicking, screaming, I was able to get it through that grommet. Let me tell you, that's probably the hardest part of this whole install, is getting it through that. But once you get it through that, obviously you're gonna wanna put more electrical tape and just wrap it all around. You wanna make sure you give yourself enough slack so that you can zip tie it to this harness and still have enough room to get it to bolt up here. So now that I've got it all ran in there, it's all taped up. It's hard to tell, but I have it routed up underneath this, zip tied it here, and I ran it underneath the original one, so it's kind of hidden. And yeah, this thing still closes, so all good. Now to move on to the inside. Okay, so now on the inside, here's the harness that we fed through that grommet up on the firewall. This you will connect to the rest of the harness right here. And then these two spots are for the supplied relays that it comes with. This other harness piece that's kind of zip tied away is for your GPS tracker, which for obvious reasons I won't be showing where I place mine, but there's a good amount of length of wire there. You can place this where JDI specifies you. They give you kind of some areas where you can put it that's away from any kind of a metal that would interrupt the signal. And the rest of the harness kind of like tucks up under here behind the glove box. It's really preference where you kind of want to find a spot for it. I removed my glove box. You don't have to. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just two little 8mm bolts, one on each side here and here, and then you just pop the whole thing out. It makes it a lot easier. You can kind of see and kind of mess with where you want to leave this behind here somewhere. And then the rest of the harness, obviously, that goes back to the fuel pump. You'll have to just route along the side of the car to the back. Okay, so I have it ran. As you can see, I zip tied it there to that harness. Ran it this way, looped it up. I kind of haven't really figured out how to do this part so that it looks, you know, nicer than this. I kind of just shoved everything behind this bar right here. And so then from there, I have it ran down here, zip tied here, and then I have it ran this way to the back, and then I have it ran underneath this carpet here. And now back here, obviously you have this cover that's screwed down here, which is just 4 screws. Pop that off. I also popped a little grommet out of here, and then once you're under here, you want to go ahead and undo that one, because these, one will plug in to the pump and the other will plug into the OE harness side. And then once you have those plugged in, it comes with a ground that you will have to ground somewhere. I will more than likely end up using, like how everybody else uses, the mounting point of the rear seats. There's a 10mm bolt that goes here. I'm just gonna have to kind of scrape away the paint here to make a better contact, but that's where I'll place that. And then all the excess, you're gonna have to just kind of roll up, zip tie, and if you want, maybe just tuck it underneath here somewhere. Or if you wanted to be really extra, I guess you could just unbolt this, which looks like it's just a bunch of maybe 17s. Unbolt it at both sides, undo the carpet, and then route it underneath this, and then have it come out like how the original harness comes out. But that's too much work, and I don't really feel like doing all that. So I'll probably just tuck it away under here somewhere, and then have it come out on top of the carpet, and then into this, and then to there. Alrighty, so I installed it, put the connectors in here. There really is no pretty way of doing this. I ended up cutting this grommet just so I can slip the harness through there. This one isn't as important as it sits on top of the fuel tank, so you don't risk a whole lot of outside stuff coming in through here. And as well as you don't have to worry about anything in here going into here. So I set it in there as best as I could, taped it up as best as I could, and then this excess, I ended up just running it back behind here. I kind of just coiled it as nice as I could under here, and obviously I just laid the carpet back over. There's one clip here, and then obviously it runs out that way, and then to the front. And then as far as the ground, I mean, like I said, you can probably find a better way of doing this, but I kind of just have it routed this way to the point where the seat bolts to. I don't like the way that bolt, the original bolt, sits. Too big of a washer, it kind of crushes the rest of this. So I'm going to end up finding a different bolt at work and replacing it with that instead. But yeah, other than that, all that's really left now is to route and mount the GPS tracker, which I'm obviously not going to show. And then if you do end up buying this product, JDI has instructions on how to set it up, again, where to mount it so that you don't have any issues as far as signal. And I think they have like a few different subscription options so that you're able to track your car and get notifications if it moves X amount of feet from where you parked it. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Not too bad of a job to do. Like I said, I'm probably gonna in another video, I'm gonna leave these plastics off because I am currently doing another video where I'm kind of trying to clean out everything back there. I know it's kind of a bit overkill, but because once the panels are on, nobody really sees all that dirt and dust, but I know it's there, and it's gonna bug the crap out of me. So I'm gonna leave everything off to clean everything. Plus, I'm also going to be sort of blacking out the interior, which is why I have the interior pieces off. I'm going to be painting the panels in the back all black, that tailgate trim piece black, the headliner. I'm going to remove this fabric because it's already kind of coming apart up in the front. I'm going to be doing like maybe like a black suede, but I'm going to be painting all of these trim pieces black. I'm going to try to somehow find a way to source out some sun visors because as you can see, they already hang low and they're also coming apart. So yeah. And then JDI, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They have a whole bunch of other products. As you can see, I also have their push button start installed. I also have their main relay conversion, which is also a kill switch. And then, as you can see, I don't have a head unit because I also have JDI's, I believe they call it the Ghost box, which is essentially, it's a Bluetooth receiver, but it's a radio. So you just connect to a Bluetooth, and then whatever music you want to play from your phone will obviously play in your car, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, this is pretty much, I think, the last product that JDI offers for these EK hatches, and I now have it installed. But yeah, see, look, this is just disgusting. But yeah, I will be doing a lot more to this. So if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.